Royal Beast+Group Pet+Invincible Qi+Cultivation. The phoenix cub woke up due to external forces and was deeply impressed by the soft and cute human cub Gu Mengmeng that she saw when she opened her eyes. When she transformed, she instinctively transformed into Gu Mengmeng's appearance. Gu Mengmeng died unexpectedly, and the butler noticed that she had just finished transforming and brought her into the Gu family, causing a huge uproar. "Human cub, you can rest assured to go, I will help take care of your family." Phoenix cubs spoke in a soft and sticky voice, looking up at the sky with a serious expression. After Gu Mengmeng became the beast master, her first contracted spirit beast was the S+ potential level, which shocked many people's jaws. The following contract beasts not only have SS+, SSS+, but even unprecedented existence. The most incredible thing is Gu Mengmeng's luck. Genius treasures are everywhere, as if deliberately placed there, waiting for her to pick them up. Gu Mengmeng was surrounded by rare materials, and she lowered her head to constantly pick and choose. After a while, she lifted her head and spoke kindly to the spirit beasts who were trying to push forward. "I know you all want to be my contract beast, but I really don't have a contract spot. The entire text is fictional, don't bring it into reality, female Qian, no male lead, novel characters, don't be too empathetic, I have limited skills and a glass heart. If you like it, please read it. If you don't like it, please delete it. I do not accept writing guidance." Novel keyword. Surprise. 5-year-old group pet little phoenix rolls up crying, no pop-up window in the beast world, shocked. 5-year-old group pet little phoenix scrolls and cries in the beast realm TXT complete collection download, amazing. 5-year-old group pet little phoenix scrolls and cries in the beast realm latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Phoenix Transformation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Phoenix Transformation. The night is already deep. The gentle breeze brushes against my face, and the bright moon hangs high. The varying depths of insect chirping brushed away the anxiety in people's hearts. In the vast backyard of the Gu family, Gu Mengmeng avoided the crowd and came to the artificial lake alone. She squatted down on the shore of the lake, staring blankly at the reflection in the lake with her big watery eyes. The reflection is the appearance of a human cub, soft and sticky. The chubby little face made people want to pinch it. Gu Mengmeng stared at the reflection for a long time, her gaze wandering and her thoughts quietly sinking into memories. A few years ago, Gu Qingsong collected a batch of spiritual plants and handed them over to the gardener to carefully plant them. Apart from being a bronze beast tamer, Gu Qingsong is also a pharmacist, and his level of medicine even makes some old professors feel inferior. These spiritual plants that are about to be planted are the raw materials he needs to refine the medicine recently. They are all expensive and delicate, so great care is needed during the planting process. It is precisely because of this that even though he knew the gardener was a professional, he still stayed and insisted on watching the spiritual vegetation grow with his own eyes. The gardener swung his hoe with great agility, and soon dug one hole after another. Suddenly, the gardener let out a puzzled cry of surprise. "Oh, what is this thing?" Upon hearing this, Gu Qingsong was also aroused with curiosity and quickly took a few steps forward, bowing his head to look inside the pit. In the center of the pit, what caught his eye was a blood-red hue. Gu Qingsong frowned slightly, pondered for a moment, and then said in a deep voice, "Keep digging, dig out that thing, and see what it is." After listening to his words, the gardener immediately followed suit. As time goes by, the full picture of the blood-colored item gradually becomes apparent. Gu Qingsong crouched down, picked up the thing, and looked it up in front of him. After a while, he hesitated and said, "Is this a blood-red egg?" The gardener pondered for a moment and said, "If I'm not mistaken, it should be." Gu Qingsong's face was filled with confusion. "Can you tell what kind of egg this is?" The gardener looked puzzled and said, "This question is beyond the scope of my knowledge reserve." Gu Qingsong, "Coincidentally, so am I." The two looked at each other. Just then, a small kitten came running from a distance. The kitten passed through the middle of the two without slowing down in speed. During its passage, its body collided with Gu Qingsong's hand holding the red egg. Due to Gu Qingsong's one-handed egg support and his unstable center of gravity squatting on the ground, the red egg was naturally thrown out due to inertia. The red egg formed a parabolic trajectory in the air, then landed heavily and continued to lose momentum, rolling towards the bushes in the corner. It wasn't until Red Egg's figure disappeared from the sight of the few present that it gradually stopped rolling. After a moment, the surface of the red egg appeared densely covered with cracks. The creatures inside the red egg were dizzy and disoriented, and their eyes opened in confusion, filled with confusion. Who am I? Where am I? What am I going to do? The little head of the phoenix cub is filled with a big confusion. As soon as she shook her wings, the red egg shattered into many pieces of eggshell fragments. The phoenix cub widened its eyes and swore, she really didn't exert any force just now. It broke on its own. This is hitting porcelain, naked hitting porcelain. Just as the phoenix cub was standing in place, feeling lost, the cat cub ran past the bushes in a flash. The kitten cub ran and turned its head to make a provocative expression towards the boy. Although it was just a little kitten, the expression on its face was very lively. In the distance, a human teenager, Gu Qingsong, was shouting loudly, "Little kitten. Troublesome little kitten, please stop me." The kitten had no response to Gu Qingsong's words and continued to run rapidly. The phoenix cub looked at the gradually disappearing back of the cat cub and exclaimed in its heart. "Jojo so cute, so cute." The gardener picked up the hoe again and started working. Gu Qingsong chased after the kitten cubs. The phoenix cubs in the bushes stared at the gradually disappearing figures of one person and one cat, lost in thought. Soon, the figures of both completely disappeared from her sight. The phoenix cub looked around and confirmed that no one was paying attention, then quickly ran out of the bushes. She had a clear goal and ran towards the artificial rockery in the distance. It was as if the path ahead had already been rehearsed many times in her mind. Only the divine beasts that survived the last generation of interstellar invasion can understand why divine beast cubs like phoenix cubs behave so timidly, as if they have engraved the word "go" into their bones. The philosophy that phoenix cubs have always upheld is to have everything until the end. The heavens and the earth are vast, and small lives are the greatest. The phoenix cub hid in the overlapping gap between the stones. She used her small wings to pat her chest very humanely and said in her heart, "It's truly me. My evasion ability is still at its full level. Sleeping for too long, I don't know what era it is now, nor do I know if Warcraft still exists." The phoenix cub looked around while reciting in a mature and fragmented tone. "Anyway, let's absorb spiritual power first and prepare to transform." The phoenix cub sensed and found that although the spiritual power in the surrounding air was not as strong as before, it was not too thin. Phoenix cubs are immersed in the process of absorbing spiritual power, and time quietly slips away. Unconsciously, half a month has passed. On this day, the entire Gu family seemed to be enveloped in an emotion called sadness. The phoenix cub stopped absorbing spiritual power, opened its eyes, and curiously poked half of its head out of the crevice to observe the situation outside. Unlike the peaceful atmosphere of the Gu family in the past, today all the smiles on their faces have disappeared. The joy emotions that phoenix cubs were able to transform after absorbing spiritual power for several days have been greatly dissipated by the emotions around them. Suddenly, the phoenix cub's face changed, and she felt the spiritual power accumulated in her body constantly surging. Not good, the spiritual power has reached the limit that the body can withstand, it seems that we must prepare for transformation. The phoenix cub's gaze circled around and then stopped in a corner. The next second, she rushed towards that corner at lightning speed. During the transformation process of the phoenix cub, the face of the young man Gu Qingsong suddenly came to mind. That handsome face left a deep impression on her and she couldn't forget it for a long time. So, the phoenix cub instinctively transformed into the appearance of that young man. In other words, the phoenix cub transformed into a female version, with a reduced version of Gu Qingsong's appearance. New book release, seeking collection, seeking recommendation tickets, seeking comments, loving you, asterisk, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Resurrection from Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 surprised. The process of transformation was even easier than the phoenix cub had imagined, and it didn't take long for her to successfully transform. The phoenix cub was very satisfied with her new form. She lifted her right hand, poked her left hand, and then let out a scream of surprise. So tender, so soft. It turns out that the body of human cubs has this tactile sensation, and they love it. Just as the phoenix cub was thrusting at her, a sudden cry of surprise echoed not far behind her, startling her. The phoenix cub quickly turned around and saw an elderly grandfather in sight. The old grandfather looks very kind. However, at this moment, his expression was full of shock, and his hands hanging on both sides even began to tremble. His mouth kept murmuring, "How could? How could? It's impossible. How could it be so similar? How could the little girl in front of me look so much like the second young master, Gu Qingsong, when I was a child? It's just like what's carved out of a mold. It's just a change of gender." Gu Qingsong has a neutral appearance, which is very attractive to both men and women. Therefore, the phoenix cub's transformed appearance is not only not strange, but also very soft and cute. That chubby little face, making people look at it, can't help but want to pinch it. The phoenix cub silently took a few steps back, feeling puzzled in its heart. My transformation is not ugly either. How could this human in front of me react like this? It's like being scared by one's own transformation. The phoenix cub is extremely puzzled. After seeing the phoenix cub's retreat, Butler Lee realized that his behavior was probably frightening the little girl in front of him. He quickly controlled his excited emotions and tried to make himself appear calm. "Children, why are you here? This is Gu's backyard." The phoenix cub's heart thumped for a moment. It was over, and the interrogation came. "Why don't we just silence it?" The phoenix cub's gaze lingered for a moment at Butler Lee's neck artery before moving away. "No, all the accumulated spiritual power has been used for transformation. I am no different from an ordinary human cub now, and I cannot defeat this big guy in front of me." The phoenix cubs started pacing back and forth with their hands on their back, and had to come up with a good reason to deceive them. Lee, the butler, watched helplessly as the girl who looked very similar to his own young master walked back and forth in front of him, with a smile on his face. "There's no way, it's really because her face and her actions are too incompatible." After a while, the phoenix cub stopped and looked up at Butler Lee, saying, "I'm lost." To prove that she was not lying, she emphasized and said again, I got lost. "Manager Lee, Thank you for being willing to spend your brain cells to appease me. I almost believed it." The phoenix cub became a little anxious when he saw Butler Lee not speaking. "I really got lost." The shock in Butler Lee's heart had dissipated quite a bit at this moment. A gentle smile appeared on his face, and he raised his hand to rub the head of the phoenix cub, saying, I heard you." Lee, the butler, moved his hand away from the phoenix cub's head and picked up her hand. "You're tired of walking, I'll take you inside to sit down." As he spoke, he inexplicably pulled the phoenix cub and walked towards the main house of the Gu family. His forward steps are fast, giving people a feeling of urgency. The phoenix cub followed in a daze, with a pair of short legs stepping out of the rhythm of the wind and fire wheel, barely keeping up with the pace of Butler Lee. Aunt John, who was about to go out and take out the garbage, almost ran into Butler Lee who was coming towards her. She quickly turned sideways and narrowly avoided it. "Old Lee, early in the morning, where are you going with such a lively atmosphere?" Lee, the butler, led the phoenix cub straight towards the house without any intention of replying. Aunt Zhang, who was still standing at the door, turned around and looked at the back of the big and small ones leaving, her eyes filled with confusion. Wait, why does the little girl who just walked over feel a bit familiar? Aunt Zhang frowned and recalled, suddenly trembling all over her body. Is that person a shortened version of the second young master? But the second young master is already in the age of the first year of junior high school. Is it possible that the little girl is the illegitimate daughter of the second young master? Oh my goodness. The shocked expression on Aunt Zhang's face at this moment was almost identical to the shocked expression of Butler Li before. Unknowingly Gu Qingsong. Are you polite? Li, the butler, pulled the phoenix cub into the main house and walked straight towards the second floor without any pause in his footsteps. After arriving on the second floor, Butler Li changed his usual composure and began shouting loudly, "Sir, madam. Young master, second young master." After shouting several times in a row, Butler Li pulled the phoenix cub to a stop in the middle of the corridor, as if waiting for someone. Not long after, the doors at both ends of the corridor opened one after another, and two people walked out of the door. On the left side walked a middle-aged man in a suit, with a straight figure. His sword eyebrows furrowed slightly, and his expression was serious. On the right side walked a lazy young man dressed in casual clothes. His eyes narrowed slightly, with a hint of impatience between his eyebrows and eyes. Their gaze fell on the face of Butler Li, and they almost spoke at the same time, "What's up?" The voice of middle-aged people is deep, while the voice of young people is cold. Under the gaze of the two, Butler Li did not show any signs of panic in his behavior. He released his grip on the phoenix cub and pushed her forward. This move successfully diverted the attention of middle-aged and young people. After the two of them shifted their gaze, Butler Li turned left and right and spoke. "Sir, young master, take a look. Who is this?" The phoenix cub was originally hanging its head low, but was pushed back and forth by Butler Li before lifting its head. At the moment when Gu Sen saw the face of the phoenix cub clearly, his pupils suddenly contracted. Gu Qingfeng was somewhat puzzled by his father's appearance, as he was standing behind Butler Li, so he could only see the back of the phoenix cub. He took a few steps forward and came to Gu Sen's side, looking down at the silent little girl. The next second, his body suddenly trembled and his feet stumbled. Gu Sen's red lips moved, "Green pine. No, when did my second son change gender and shrink? How come I, as a father, don't know?" Gu Sen turned his gaze to Gu Qingfeng, and from his eyes, he also saw a shocked expression. Suddenly, Gu Sen breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that he is not the only one who is unaware. The nature of this matter is very serious, we must ask Gu Qingsong carefully. Unknowingly, Gu Qingsong. Seeking monthly tickets, seeking recommended tickets, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. The Age of Beasts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The Age of Beasts. The appearance of the phoenix cub caused a great uproar for the Gu family. After recovering from their shocked state, Gu Sen and Gu Qingfeng each returned to their rooms and dragged a person out. Gu Sen shook Bai Yuanxi's wrist and gestured for her to take a look at the little girl. Gu Qingfeng pulled Gu Qingsong. Gu Qingsong constantly struggled and resisted, but it didn't have much effect. Gu Qingfeng's hand moved to his neck, almost forcefully pressing his head down. Two more screams of surprise echoed in the hallway. 4 people gathered around the phoenix cub and looked fiercely. But no one got started, afraid that their sudden actions would scare the phoenix cubs. The 4 of them all had the same thought in their minds, which was: shouldn't the little girl in front of them be Gu Qingsong's illegitimate daughter? That's right, after seeing the face of the phoenix cub, Gu Qingsong also had a moment of doubt in his heart. There's no way, it's really because the phoenix cub looks so much like him when he was young. Except for gender differences. The phoenix cub gritted its scalp and was stared at by the 4 people's eyes for a while. In the end, it couldn't bear it anymore. It chose a relatively large empty space, passed through it, and then ran quickly towards the downstairs. Gu Sen and Gu Qingfeng were afraid that the phoenix cub would be injured, so they took the initiative to make way to the side, allowing the phoenix cub to leave more smoothly. The phoenix cub who came downstairs was about to escape, but was stopped by Aunt Zhang, who came back from taking out the garbage. Aunt Zhang pulled the phoenix cub into the kitchen, washing her hands while also giving the phoenix cub a hand wash. Then, she took out several plates of desserts from the insulated cabinet. "Is the little girl hungry? Do you want to eat some of the desserts I made?" The phoenix cub pursed its lips. She is a divine beast, the phoenix. How could she love to eat these fancy things? A fragrance kept pouring into her nose. The phoenix cub swallowed its saliva, although showing disdain, her gaze never shifted from the plates of desserts. The exquisite cake paper wraps around the cake, making it look even more delicious. I don't know what taste it will have when eaten. Under the kitchen lights, those plates of desserts seemed to be coated with a layer of holy light. By a stroke of fate, the phoenix cub reached out and picked up a piece of cake. The phoenix cub was shocked and turned pale. How did this thing get into its own hands? It must be the hand that moved the cake first. The phoenix cub glared at the cake and thought to himself, since you want to die so badly, don't blame me for being impolite. With a whimper, the phoenix cub bit down half of the cake. Ah, ah, ah. Eat well. The phoenix cub's eyes suddenly widened, and the speed of chewing the cake accelerated. She took 2 bites of a cake and the entire process took no more than 5 seconds. After finishing a piece of cake, the phoenix cub's gaze turned to the other cakes on the plate. Since your good brothers have all sacrificed themselves with honor, let's go together. A family needs to be neat and tidy. It took a minute for Phoenix Cub to wipe out several plates of dim sum. Seeing the Phoenix Cub eat all the dim sum, Aunt Zhang's face showed a happy smile. Eating is a blessing, the little girl must be a blessed person. The Phoenix Cub stared blankly at the empty plates in front of him, only to realize what he had just done. Mom, it's so embarrassing. If other divine beast cubs see her, they will definitely laugh at her for a whole year. The Phoenix Cub began to struggle in Aunt Zhang's embrace, wanting to escape this awkward place. Aunt Zhang didn't understand what was wrong with her, so she raised her hand and lightly patted the back of the Phoenix Cub, trying to soothe her excited emotions. Gradually, the awkward emotions of the Phoenix Cub dissipated, and her calm emotions once again occupied the high ground. She stopped struggling and stayed quietly in Aunt Zhang's arms. Auntie, do you know what happened to the Gu family? Why are everyone acting so sad? Through everyone's reaction, although she guessed that something might have happened to the Gu family, she didn't know the specific situation, which is why she asked such a question. Aunt Zhang thought that left and right were not confidential, so she explained to Gu Mengmeng. Mr. Gu's little kitten died. Xiaomi is very cute, and everyone likes it very much. In this way, Aunt Zhang seemed to have been opened up, talking incessantly. From Aunt Zhang's mouth, the Phoenix Cub learned a lot of useful information. The Gu family is a family of animal masters, and all of them are animal masters. Gu Linjun, Gu Laozi, the Golden Beast Guard, belongs to the high-level combat power of humans on the Blue Star. Gu Sen, the head of the family and the Silver Beast Master, is the well-known CEO of the Yucheng Group in Yucheng. On the New Year's Eve, Lady Gu, the Silver Beast Master, was the leader of the Blood Beast Group. Gu Qingfeng, the eldest young master of the Gu family, is a bronze beast tamer with a fast cultivation speed. Gu Qingsong, second young master of the Gu family, bronze beast master, pharmacist, and rising star of pharmacy. And the kitten is actually the kitten cub that the Phoenix Cub saw before. Xiaomi is not a spiritual beast, just a household pet with spiritual energy. Death due to accidental ingestion of toxic substances. At present, the specific toxin has not been determined, and it is unknown who the culprit is. Speaking of the term killer, Aunt Zhang was furious and said, "I don't know which damn bastard it was. He even cruelly poisoned a kitten. Hey, poor little kitten." The phoenix cub quickly spoke out to comfort, "Auntie, don't be angry, there's no one to replace you when you're angry. Evil people have their own retribution, and that person will eventually pay the price for the bad things they have done." After Aunt Zhang's emotions calmed down a bit, the phoenix cub asked some questions she wanted to know, and Aunt Zhang answered them one by one without any impatience. Nowadays, it is no longer the era of divine beasts, but the era of human beasts. From ancient times to the present, there are a total of 5 stages, namely the mythical age, the beast age, the interstellar invasion, the chaotic age, and the current beast age. Since the era of interstellar invasion, both Warcraft and divine beasts have suffered losses, and humanity has entered a high-speed development. The human race has greatly improved its previous cultivation methods and created a system of animal cultivation. Humans with the talent for animal defense are collectively referred to as animal defense masters. The Beast Master has a total of 5 levels, namely Bronze, Silver, Gold, King, and Legend. The number of royal-level beast tamers is rare, let alone legendary beast tamers, which can be described as countable. Bronze beast guards belong to low-level combat power, Silver beast guards belong to mid-level combat power, Gold beast guards belong to high-level combat power, and King-level beast guards belong to top-level combat power. The legendary beast tamer belongs to the ceiling combat power. Most divine beasts choose to sleep, while Warcraft choose to enter a different space to cultivate and rest, trying to wait for a suitable time and then make a comeback. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Gu Mengmeng. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 4. Gu Mengmeng. The idea of Warcraft wanting to occupy Blue Star has never dissipated, but due to the situation, they can only choose to temporarily endure. Previously, it was hindered by the power of divine beasts, but now it is hindered by the deterrence of human ceiling combat power. For most Warcraft enthusiasts, the legendary Beast Master is a fearless presence. As long as the legendary Beast Tamer is still alive, most monsters dare not act recklessly and can only choose to silently accumulate strength in a different space. Almost every city has a different space, which was created by Advanced Warcraft. Its function is to provide a relatively safe development site for the younger brothers of Advanced Warcraft. Advanced Warcraft. Little brothers, you must work hard quietly, develop secretly, and then amaze everyone. Of course, with human intelligence, it is certain that Warcraft will not be allowed to develop in different spaces. So, basically every once in a while, the team is led by human experts, leading some relatively weak human beginners into the alien space to experience. Human. I didn't expect it, I came in, oh, I went out again. Warcraft are annoyed by the harassment behavior of humans entering different spaces from time to time, but they are helpless. For humans, their alien space is a state where the door to my home is often open. Advanced Warcraft. I may not be human, but you are real dogs. Before humans become animal tamers, there will be a process of awakening. Different people have different awakening times. Some people may only awaken after reaching adulthood, while others may awaken during infancy. I really agree with that old saying, people cannot be generalized. Simply put, the earlier one awakens, the higher their talent for guarding beasts. After human awakening, they will activate the talent of beast defense and be able to contract spirit beasts. When it comes to the first contract with a spirit beast, it is best to have a strong elder sitting on the side to prevent the spirit beast from rebelling and causing harm to people. After the success of the first spirit beast contract, he became the Beast Master. The more advanced a beast tamer is, the more spiritual beasts they can command and control in combat, and their strength naturally becomes stronger. Upon hearing this, the phoenix cub's eyes were filled with surprise. She didn't expect so many things to happen during her slumber. I didn't expect that the Beast Master would become the mainstream of human cultivation, which greatly exceeded her expectations. Just as the phoenix cub was trying to digest the information and wanted to ask something more, Bai Yuanxi and Gu Sen walked into the kitchen one by one. Bai Yuanxi raised his hand and touched her forehead, with a concern in his voice. "Child, why did you come to the kitchen? Are you hungry?" Gu Sen stood next to Bai Yuanxi. Although he didn't speak, his eyes towards the phoenix cub also showed concern. Perhaps it's because they look very similar to the phoenix cubs and the young Gu Qingsong. They love their house and love their birds. In the huge living room of the Gu family's main house, the atmosphere is very serious. Gu Sen, Bai Yuanxi, Phoenix Cub, and Gu Qingfeng are all sitting on the sofa. Only Gu Qingsong remained standing alone. He stood directly across from the four of them. Gu Sen narrowed his eyes slightly and spoke first. "Tell me, what is the relationship between this little girl and you?" Bai Yuanxi spoke gently. "Qingsong, let's talk about it." Gu Qingfeng smiled in his eyes and said, "Second brother, be lenient when honest, and be strict when resisting." The phoenix cub blinked in a daze. Her big eyes were filled with big doubts. She thought to herself, are these people interrogating the big brother across from you now? The human world is so complex, it seems that I still need to learn. Gu Qingsong, on the other hand, had a bitter expression on his face. What am I saying? I had never seen her before today. Silent, it's really like jumping into the yellow river and not being able to wash it clean, right? Gu Sen, is she really not your illegitimate daughter? Gu Qingsong, she's really not my illegitimate daughter. I'm not even an adult yet, where did I get an illegitimate daughter? It's more likely that it's your illegitimate daughter. Gu Qingfeng, second brother, don't be stubborn, just admit it. Gu Qingsong glared angrily at Gu Qingfeng and said, I admit you're a fool. Are you a fool? The Gu family took the phoenix cub for paternity testing, and the results showed that there was no blood relationship between the two parties. Only then did everyone believe in Gu Qingsong's innocence. The Gu family speculated that Gu Mengmeng was a lost child who accidentally broke into the Gu family, so they tried various ways to help her find her relatives. However, as time passed, there was no harvest for a long time. Everyone even found the old man to help. After all, the old man is an official member. Unfortunately, there is still nothing to be gained. After spending this time together, the Gu family has developed feelings for the phoenix cub. Especially Gu Sen, he has always longed to have a daughter. Because after giving birth to Gu Qingsong on the New Year's Eve, Bai's body fell ill and was unable to continue reproduction. So, wanting a daughter has always been a regret in Gu Sen's heart. On this day, everyone gathered again in the living room. Gu Sen coughed lightly and then spoke, speaking of which, I'm missing a girl. I've already thought of a girl's name, so I'll call her Gu Mengmeng. As Gu Sen spoke, he turned his gaze to the phoenix cub. The other three people, upon hearing this, also turned their gaze to the phoenix cub. Staring with fiery eyes from the four of them, the phoenix cub instantly seemed to return to the scene she had just met. At that time, the four of them also stared at her with such eyes. Gu Sen continued, how about being my daughter? I didn't wait for the phoenix cub to answer. Gu Sen answered without hesitation, if you don't answer, then you have no objections, then you agree. Okay, from now on you will be my little daughter, Gu Mengmeng. Phoenix cub. Gu Mengmeng withdrew from her memories and her gaze shifted away from the calm lake surface. As soon as she stood up, she heard someone behind her shouting her name. Cute, don't stand by the lake, it's dangerous. There's no need to think too much about this voice. Gu Mengmeng doesn't even need to turn her head to know who the owner of this voice is. It's not anyone else, it must be her good brother Gu Qingfeng without a doubt. After spending this time together, Gu Mengmeng finally understood how many women and men there were in the Gu family. That's like holding it in the palm of your hand, afraid of falling, and holding it in your mouth, afraid of melting. To exaggerate a bit, if she says she wants the stars in the sky, there is a great possibility that the Gu family will pick them for her. Any slight hesitation is not worthy of the word spoiling. Gu Mengmeng turned her head and a clear expression appeared in her eyes. As expected, she said, "Big brother, I can stand firm and won't fall into the lake." Although Gu Mengmeng spoke very seriously, Gu Qingfeng didn't listen to a single word. He bent down to pick up Gu Mengmeng until she moved away from the artificial lake, and finally breathed a sigh of relief. It's like a lifted heart, finally able to let go. Gu Mengmeng nestled in Gu Qingfeng's arms, her chubby face covered in words, and thought to herself, "That's enough, it shouldn't be like this." Gu Mengmeng roast in his heart. After calming down, he asked, "Brother, what's the matter with you coming to me?" Request for votes, end of this chapter. Chapter 5. Talent Self-Check. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Talent Self-Check. Big brother, are you here for anything? Gu Qingfeng held Gu Mengmeng and walked towards the main house, answering in a low voice, "Your second brother and I are going back to school today. Father wants you to come back to school with us, I'll ask your thoughts." Gu Mengmeng. Gangwaxing, a 5-year-old cub, do you want me to follow you to study in the junior high school department? Do I deserve it? Whose 5-year-old child went to high school with his brother? It's really outrageous. To be honest, shouldn't I just go to kindergarten? Even if it's not going well, go through the process and finish elementary school. I don't know how many big characters to read, so I went straight to junior high school. Why? Strive to become a missed fish in the 9-year compulsory education. Gu Mengmeng remained speechless for a long time before slowly speaking up, "Big brother, I'm 5 years old this year." Although she didn't hold any hope, she still hoped to awaken Gu Qingfeng's rationality with facts. Father is old and confused, but you are still young. You need to be more rational. Gu Qingfeng lifted his empty hand and placed it on Gu Mengmeng's head, gently rubbing it. His magnetic voice was as rich as top red wine. Mengmeng's math is really good. Gu Mengmeng. Her small face wrinkled directly into a ball, like a white, tender meat bun. Is your focus too strange? Do I want you to praise me? What I mean is, an ordinary 5-year-old child should attend the kindergarten class, and a genius 5-year-old child should attend the first grade of elementary school. Gu Qingfeng paused as he walked forward, is that so? Gu Mengmeng. Are you serious about this question? Gu Qingfeng pursed his thin lips and said, "Does Mengmeng dislike being with her brothers?" As he spoke, his eyes showed an injured expression. Gu Mengmeng saw him make this expression, and suddenly, she seemed to hear his heartbreaking voice. Coming again, coming again. It's a pity that you didn't go to act." Gu Mengmeng tugged at the corner of her mouth and said, "Stop pretending, speak well." Upon hearing these words, Gu Qingfeng decisively returned to normal, cleared his throat and explained. "Mengmeng, getting you into high school is the result of a collective discussion among the family. We really don't trust you going to school alone. If Mengmeng goes to elementary school, she won't be able to see her brothers. Isn't it good to study with big brother and second brother? We will do our best to take care of you." Gu Mengmeng pondered for a moment, but to her surprise, she was somewhat convinced by him. "Going to school with my older brother and second brother is not a big deal, except for the possibility that I may not be able to keep up with my studies. With her elder brother and second brother taking care of her, she can better integrate into human society. In recent years, although she has learned a lot, she may have made some mistakes. Being with my brothers is definitely better than being alone in elementary school, no matter what." After thinking it through, Gu Mengmeng nodded and said, "All right, you can make the decision. I have no objection. But before going to school, I want to test my talents." Gu Mengmeng has never been tested. Firstly, she felt that she was still early in school and didn't need to rush to get tested. The second reason is that she feels that as a divine beast phoenix, it is unlikely that she can possess the talent of a beast tamer. But now she is about to go to school, so she still wants to have a test first so that she can have a better understanding. Just in case. Although I don't understand Gu Mengmeng's thoughts, after all, when we arrive at school, all new students need to undergo unified testing in order to detect their talent potential. But Gu Qingfeng immediately talked to his father about this matter. Gu Sen asked someone to take out the testing instrument without saying a word. He took the testing instrument and held it in front of Gu Mengmeng with both hands, showing a pleasing expression on his face. Gu Mengmeng. You really have no bottom line in terms of spoiling your daughter and sister. You really have it. Household testing equipment is different from official testing equipment in schools. Household equipment can only detect whether the user has a natural talent for animal defense, while official testing results are more comprehensive. Gu Mengmeng took a deep breath and slowly placed her hand on the talent detector under the gaze of the whole family. Quickly, the detection instrument underwent a change, emitting a dazzling light. Gu Mengmeng blinked and looked bewildered. What does this mean? Do you have talent or not? Just as Gu Mengmeng was puzzled, a cold breath could be heard in her ear. Hiss. Gu Qingsong leaned his head towards Gu Qingfeng's ear and was about to say something when he was mercilessly pushed away by Gu Qingfeng's hand. Gu Qingfeng spoke coldly, "Stay away from me." Gu Qingsong protested softly, "You treat each other differently. It's not like this when you face a little girl." Gu Qingfeng sneered and said, "Oh, can you compete with my younger sister? What kind of onion are you?" Gu Qingsong. Where is the divine right? Am I not your own younger brother? Gu Qingfeng looked at Gu Qingsong from head to toe with a scrutinizing gaze, and then said, "If you don't mention it, I really can't tell you're my brother." Gu Qingsong. That's too much. I want to run away from home. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng's eyes lit up and he urgently asked, "Really? When will you leave? Do you want me to help you pack your luggage?" Gu Sen stood aside and listened to the entire conversation before suddenly speaking, "I remember there was an empty house in the suburbs. Do you want to rent a house? In consideration that you are my son, I will offer you a family price, have the rent, and waive all utilities." Gu Qingsong. Taking bamboo shoots is really not a good person, is it? Is it reasonable to ask my son to charge rent? Is this decent? Gu Qingsong took a deep breath and tried to squeeze out a smile. "I was just joking," he said. Gu Sen and Gu Qingfeng exchanged a glance and spoke in unison, "That's really a pity." Gu Qingsong. Suddenly, I feel like I'm going to wipe out my family with righteousness. Gu Mengmeng shook her head helplessly, coughed lightly, and redirected everyone's attention back to herself. Bai Yuanxi's face was a bit nervous. "Cute, why did you cough? Is there anything uncomfortable?" Gu Mengmeng smiled comfortingly at Bai Yuanxi and said, "Mom, I'm fine, just clear my throat." After speaking, she looked at Gu Qingsong and cast a questioning look at him. "Second brother, what were you trying to say earlier? What does this instrument represent when it emits light? Do I have talent or don't I?" Gu Qingsong was taken aback for a moment and said, "The instrument's luminescence represents talent. Didn't you just read the instrument manual, little sister? Don't you remember?" End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Father's Loyalty and Son's Filial Piety. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Father's Loyalty and Son's Filial Piety. Gu Qingfeng raised his hand to slap his head and said, "I'll answer whatever you ask, cute and cute. What's the point of asking back? You're the only one who can ask back, right?" Speaking, another slap fell. Gu Qingsong covered the back of his head and entrusted Chu Baba, "I'm just curious to ask." Gu Mengmeng averted her gaze and looked elsewhere. "Since the result is innate, why are you acting so exaggerated? Take a breath of cold air. I thought there was a problem with my talent." Shake the pot bluntly without any hesitation. Gu Sen immediately agreed, "That's right, I sound so calm all day long. I'm not at all calm. Gu Mengmeng is right, it's all your fault. By Yuan she said, Qingsong, you really need to practice your mentality. Learn more from your older brother in your daily life. Gu Qingsong. I need to do a paternity test sometime. I really suspect I picked it up from the trash can. Didn't you all notice that this light is much more dazzling than when I tested it? This light is at least several times more dazzling than my detection light. Gu Sen looked proud and said, my daughter is just amazing. White New Year's Eve, cute and awesome. Gu Mengmeng is indeed a genius. Gu Qingsong roared loudly in his heart, can you be normal? It's difficult for me to communicate with you like this now. Can you guys wake up a bit? Forget it, my heart is so tired, let's destroy it. After a simple talent test, Gu Mengmeng realized that she also had a talent for beast control, and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Now I can go to school with my brothers with peace of mind. Gu Sen asked for Gu Mengmeng's opinion, and when he received a willing answer, he immediately began arranging her school matters. He is a person who is swift and decisive in his work, and he must immediately complete what he has determined. Generally speaking, at Gu Mengmeng's age, it is almost impossible to enter the best middle school in Yucheng and study in the same class as her brothers. But there are always exceptions. Who is Gu Senior? He is the CEO of Piety, the largest seller of royal animal materials in Yucheng. The CEO of a group wants to use the back door to gain privileges for their precious daughter, that's like holding hands. You only need to pay a little money to solve this problem perfectly. Gu Sen took out his phone, walked to the corner, and dialed the phone. I don't know what he said to the other person, but after a few minutes, he walked back with a smile on his phone. Looking at his appearance on New Year's Eve, Bai guessed the result and said, have you settled the matter of Mengmeng going to school? Gu Sen nodded proudly and said, of course. As soon as I heard that the person across from me was Mengmeng going to school, I immediately agreed. My cute and adorable family is a genius among geniuses. No matter what school I go to, it's always a blessing for that school. Upon hearing this, Gu Mengmeng squinted her eyes with some suspicion. How could she be so skeptical of what she said? Gu Qingsong sneered and mercilessly revealed, did you spend a lot of money? Obviously, he is still holding on to the previous incident. Gu Sen's smile narrowed a bit, and he gave Gu Qingsong a glare before saying, it's none of your business, I have plenty of money. Seeing that Gu Qingsong was still planning to speak, he calmly said the second sentence, if you dare to speak too much, just wait for you to leave the house with a clean body. Gu Qingsong silently closed his open mouth and thought to himself, you're ruthless. I have a lot of magnanimity and don't have the same opinion as you. After the father and son finished arguing on the New Year's Eve, Bai spoke up and asked, tell me, how many billions did it cost? Gu Sen cleared his throat and said, to be precise, it's 500 million yuan, plus 2 teaching buildings. Gu Mengmeng has no concept of human money, so her reaction is mediocre. However, Gu Qingfeng clicked and said to himself, as expected, my father is still a black sheep as always. There is clearly room for negotiation on this price, but he agreed to it all at once. It seems that as long as it's related to the younger sister, the father's brainlessness will quickly occupy the high ground of intelligence. Gu Qingsong spoke with a strange tone, it's truly Mr. Gu. He's really rich and capricious. This time, Gu Sen didn't speak, just silently rolled up his sleeves. A father's kindness and filial piety kicked off. Until all the gunpowder is over. The handsome Gu Qingfeng, the soft and cute Gu Mengmeng, and the swollen Gu Qingsong finally embarked on the journey back to school. As a pharmacist, Gu Qingsong naturally has 1,000 ways to restore his face to its original state. But he is not at home because he wants to make Gu Sen feel guilty. Unfortunately, he was just doing useless work. As soon as Gu Qingsong left, Gu Sen called up the surveillance cameras in the living room at home. Gu Sen's pause level is quite superb, and on the huge display screen, Gu Qingsong, with a blue nose and swollen face, appears particularly lively. Skillfully take out your phone, take a photo on the display screen, then click on Moments, edit the copy, upload the photo, and click Send. This series of actions were all completed within 1 minute. It can be seen that Gu Sen did this a lot. Buzz. Bai's phone vibrated twice on New Year's Eve, and she picked up the phone to unlock it and opened her social circle. The first one is the content that Gu Sen just sent. Copywriting. Another day of joyful mood. Image. Close-up photo of Gu Qingsong with a blue nose and swollen face. JPG Comment 1. It's really my blessing to be your son. Comment 2. When the father sees his son still cold, he draws out 7 wolves. Comment 3. Happiness is indeed built on the pain of others, and I can't help but want to laugh, ha ha ha. Bai Yuanxi rolled his eyes at Gu Sen and silently liked this friend. Gu Qingsong knew nothing about Gu Sen's actions. After leaving the Gu family, he immediately drank a bottle of potion and restored his handsome face to its original state. Just as Gu Qingsong was holding his phone and admiring his appearance with the black screen reflection, Gu Qingfeng lifted his elbow and pressed against his forearm. Gu Qingsong put down his phone impatiently and said, "What are you doing?" The expression on Gu Qingfeng's face was somewhat strange, as if trying to suppress a smile. Father posted on social media. Gu Qingsong hesitated for a moment, then excitedly unlocked his phone. "Let me see how my father expresses his guilt," he whispered while clicking on Gu Sen's social media. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Yucheng No. 1 Middle School. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 7 Huicheng No. 1 Middle School Gu Qingsong, let me see how my father expresses his guilt. Opening the picture, a photo of a face with a blue nose and swollen face came into his sight. Gu Qingsong. Is it because I clicked on the picture in the wrong way? Exit and reopen the image. Nothing has changed, the only thing that has changed is his mindset. Gu Qingsong, my unique mindset exploded. Now that we are all in the era of beasts, why hasn't the world been destroyed? Hurry up, I'm really tired. The young master and young lady of Yucheng Group cannot go out on foot, so there is no need for a proper shuttle bus. Gu Qingsong remained silent all the way. He had lost his interest in speaking, like a salted fish without a dream. At the beginning, Gu Mengmeng was quite excited, lying by the car window and gazing at the scenery outside. For things on the street, they all show novel emotions. But this emotion didn't last long. Soon, Gu Mengmeng began to feel drowsy, her little head slowly drooping down. Gu Qingfeng was afraid that she would hit her, so he quickly raised his big hand to protect the back of her head. In a daze, Gu Mengmeng felt as if Gu Qingfeng was holding her in her arms. Unconsciously, she muttered, "Good night, brother." Gu Qingfeng glanced at the dazzling sun outside the window, with a face full of tears and laughter. Gu's family is not far from Huicheng No. 1 Middle School, and it only takes 20 minutes by car to reach. After all, both are within the scope of the Huai city center. No matter how far away they are not far away. The driver noticed through the rearview mirror that their young lady was asleep and instinctively slowed down the speed. People sitting in the car can clearly feel that the car is smoother than before. Gu Qingfeng was the first to notice this. He lowered his voice and said, "Great, maintain this stability, don't accelerate." So, the journey that originally only took 20 minutes to reach has been changed to 30 minutes. Huicheng No. 1 Middle School, at the entrance of the school. The driver parked smoothly without any bumps. Gu Qingsong was the first to get off the car and helped the two people who were still in the car open the car door. Gu Qingfeng took off his coat, wrapped Gu Mengmeng around her, and then carried her out of the car. He held Gu Mengmeng and strode towards the school. His behavior was very relaxed, as if he couldn't feel the weight of Gu Mengmeng in his arms. After Gu Qingsong closed the car door, he quickly followed Gu Qingfeng's footsteps. After the three of them had walked away, the driver started the car, made a graceful turn, and then turned back the same way. "Big brother, please walk slowly. It's not like you're in a hurry to reincarnate. I can't keep up with you anymore." Gu Qingfeng paused as he walked forward and turned to look at him. "Oh, why don't you continue to remain silent?" "Gu Qingsong, I am willing." Although Gu Qingfeng didn't spare anyone, he slowed down his pace under his feet, allowing Gu Qingsong to keep up. "I forgot to tell you, I saved the picture my father posted on his social media today." Gu Qingsong. Please, be a person. Walking on the shady path of the school, I met many students, both senior and junior. Most students didn't notice Gu Mengmeng in Gu Qingfeng's arms at first, but when they realized Gu Mengmeng's existence, their faces showed surprised expressions. What is the operation of bringing children to school? Huicheng No. 1 Middle School, Class 7, 1, Classroom. Gu Qingfeng walked into the classroom holding Gu Mengmeng, with Gu Qingsong following closely behind. Lightweight sports shoes made a dull sound as they stepped on the smooth floor. Time and time again, as if stepping on the hearts of my classmates. Watching the two brothers of the Gu family enter the classroom one after another, the originally noisy classroom environment suddenly quieted down for a moment, and then erupted into a chorus of shouting, "Hello Gu." In the eyes of his classmates, Gu Qingfeng is the god of learning, and Gu Qingsong is the god of medicine. Anyway, they are all good students who need them to embrace their thighs. Gu Qingfeng and Gu Qingsong have long been accustomed to the virtues of their classmates, so they didn't react much to this and walked towards their respective positions expressionlessly. Halfway through, Zhou Yuan, who usually plays well with the Gu brothers, stood up from his seat and planned to warmly pat their shoulders, then give them a bear hug to express how much he missed them during the holiday. Miss Qingfeng's main homework, Miss Qingsong's pharmacy homework. Simply put, it means, "Buddy, I didn't do your homework during the holiday. Take out your homework quickly and borrow me to copy it." After Zhou Yuan stood up, as soon as he raised his hand, he saw Gu Qingfeng's embrace, his eyes tightly closed, and Gu Mengmeng's face still immersed in dreams. Zhou Yuan's raised hand suddenly froze, his mouth wide open. "Sleeping trough, what do I see?" Gu Qingfeng tilted his head slightly and glanced at him. "If you have something to say, don't get too close. Borrow me to copy my homework." Zhou Yuan's eyes remained fixed on Gu Mengmeng's face, with a subtle expression on her face. Gu Qingfeng glanced at him and said, "Don't you want your eyeballs anymore?" He continued walking towards his seat while speaking. Gu Qingfeng and Gu Qingsong are sitting in the same row, so their destinations are almost the same. Zhou Yuan silently followed behind the two of them, watching them sit in their respective seats. He looked at Gu Mengmeng's face and then at Gu Qingsong's expression, unable to resist his curiosity, and spoke in a shocked tone. "I haven't seen you for a few days now. You even have a baby now. And it's still such a big kid." Gu Qingsong gritted his teeth and lowered his voice to shout out Zhou Yuan's full name. "Zhou Yuan, do you want to die?" At this moment, Gu Mengmeng woke up in Gu Qingfeng's arms. Gu Mengmeng opened her eyes, her pupils seemed to reflect the Milky Way, making people unable to help but fall deeply into it after staring at each other. Her chubby face was about to be pinched as she looked at it. Thick and slender eyelashes, like two cattail fans, flickering and flickering. Gu Mengmeng looked at Zhou Yuan. Just as their gaze met, Zhou Yuan felt his heart beating faster, as if his heart was about to be melted by her. What was originally intended to be said was completely forgotten in an instant. Mom, yeah." Menghua woke up from sleep. Gu Mengmeng's eyes rolled slowly. Although she was asleep just now, she was already in a state of being unable to wake up, so she could hear their conversation clearly. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration flashed in her mind, revealing a wicked smile towards Gu Qingsong. "Dad," Gu Qingsong's face stiffened. If my father finds out about this, wouldn't he end it in minutes? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Royal Beast Class 71. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Royal Beast Class 71. To be honest, hearing Gu Mengmeng's dad, Gu Qingsong felt more joy than panic in his heart. Anyway, Gu-san is not on site now, and Gu Qingsong, who has always been brave, is fearless. He even wanted to hear his little sister shout again. Standing on the side, Zhou Yuan's already surprised face grew even more surprised. He stumbled a few steps and almost fell to the ground. Sleeping trough, what did he just hear? Is this little girl called Gu Qingsong's father? Zhou Yuan, who was eager to verify, quickly turned around and looked at the other classmates around him. When he saw other classmates with the same expression of eating big melons, he suddenly felt a sense of balance in his heart. It seems that he was not just hallucinating just now. He was not the only one who heard such a powerful title. Alright now, don't worry about Gu Qingsong getting angry and silencing, after all, he can't possibly silence all the classmates in the same class, can he? Gu Mengmeng's gaze shifted away from Gu Qingsong and turned to the other people in the class, who were the classmates she would need to spend the next few years with day and night. As she had imagined, the classmates all had stunned expressions. Gu Mengmeng thought it was very interesting, but she called out mischievously again, "Dad." Her voice is soft and sticky, although not particularly loud, it appears particularly clear in this quiet classroom like a chicken. Clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. When Gu Qingfeng heard Gu Mengmeng's first cry, he suddenly turned his gaze to Gu Qingsong. If his gaze could kill, Gu Qingsong might have been pierced by Gu Qingfeng's gaze. He hates it, why didn't the little girl shout at him? When Gu Qingfeng heard Gu Mengmeng shout a second time, the feeling of eating in his heart was almost overflowing from his chest. Little sister, take a look at me. You can't be so biased towards each other. Why don't you call me Dad? Is it because I'm not standing high enough? If Gu-san were on site, he would most likely be infuriated by his two filial sons, saying, I treat you as sons, but you want to be my brothers. Gu Qingsong suppressed the joy in his heart and worked hard to maintain facial management, trying to look less joyful. He gave Gu Mengmeng a soft glare, his eyes full of indulgence. Mengmeng called me wrong, I should call her second brother. Bang! Zhou Yuan trembled all over and instinctively took a step back, accidentally hitting an empty stool. The owner of the stool is probably going to the restroom and is not currently in the seat. Fortunately, he was not in his seat. Otherwise, with Zhou Yuan's shock, he would probably have been knocked down with a stool. Zhou Yuan hurriedly lifted the stool from the ground, his expression still lingering with fear. Damn it, when did Gu Qingsong speak in such a gentle tone? Zhou Yuan rubbed his hands against each other, and he felt a pile of goosebumps on his forearm. Oh my god, the gentle version of Gu Qingsong really makes him unable to accept it. The sound made by Zhou Yuan was very sudden, which startled Gu Mengmeng. Gu Qingfeng felt the little sister in his arms tremble, his face changed, and he looked up coldly at Zhou Yuan. Zhou Yuan suddenly froze in place, at a loss. Gu Qingfeng said in a calm tone, apologies, you scared my sister. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, Zhou Yuan apologized without hesitation, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Gu Mengmeng blinked and said, it's okay, new classmate. It's our first time meeting, please take care of us in the future. Zhou Yuan nodded repeatedly, Wait, new classmate. What does that mean? Until the teacher walked into the classroom, the entire class still couldn't escape from the shock. Nonsense, anyone who listens to a 5-year-old child being their own classmate, and also a junior high school classmate, won't behave too calmly, okay? It's really out of line. His mother, open the door for you. It's out of line. What's going on in this world? Zhou Yuan looked up at the ceiling of the classroom. Oh my goodness, can you tell me what's going on right now? He feels like his worldview is about to collapse. Huicheng No. 1 Middle School is divided into two education systems, namely, animal education and general education. Ordinary students who have not awakened and have excellent academic performance will be assigned to regular classes. And students who awaken their talent for animal control will be assigned to the animal control class. There are a total of 8 animal training classes in each grade. Among them, Yusho Class 1 in each grade is the best class, and only top students who excel in all aspects can enter the learning process. Undoubtedly, the class where the two brothers Gu Qingfeng and Gu Qingsong attend is the best in the entire 7th grade. Of course, no matter what class it is, there will always be some gangster-like presence. Zhou Yuan. Stop talking and report your ID number directly on the podium. Sun Chang, teacher, looked around the classroom. When he noticed that the expressions on the faces of the students were mostly the same, he knew that they probably already knew some information about Gu Mengmeng. Sun Chang cleared his throat, picked up the thermos, unscrewed the lid, and put it aside. He blew into the mouth of the cup, dispersing the floating tea leaves, and then took a sip of the tea before speaking. I believe everyone already knows, that's right, a new classmate has arrived in our class today. In an instant, most of the people in the class, with dozens of pairs of eyes brushing together, looked towards the direction where Gu Mengmeng was. Sun Chang set aside the thermos in his hand and continued, let's welcome the new students. Let's applaud. The whole class remained eerily quiet for a moment, followed by enthusiastic applause. Okay, now let's invite new students to the podium to introduce themselves. Sun Chang's gaze fell on Gu Mengmeng, his eyes full of encouragement, signaling her to speak boldly. Sun Chang thought to himself, good self-introduction, it saved me a lot of trouble talking. To be honest, after teaching junior high school students for so many years, it's the first time he's been teaching at such a young age. It's a lot of pressure. Before the class bell rang, Gu Mengmeng left Gu Qingfeng's embrace and found a seat in the front row. There's no way, with her height there, if she sits in the back row, she won't be able to see the blackboard at all, only the back of her classmates in the front row. And the original owner of the position she chose, under the gaze of Gu Qingfeng and Gu Qingsong, willingly packed up her things and quickly found a seat in the back row. After hearing Sun Chang name her, Gu Mengmeng's face showed no signs of panic, only a slight frown, as if she had encountered some difficult problem. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Self-Introduction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Self-Introduction. Gu Mengmeng's eyes were fixed on the nearby podium, her eyebrows slightly furrowed, as if she was troubled by some difficult problem. The whole class's gaze was focused on Gu Mengmeng, watching her every move and waiting for her next performance. The class is very quiet, and the sound of needles falling can be heard. So, under the gaze of the whole class, Gu Mengmeng stood up from her seat. Zhou Yuan took a deep breath. She moved, she finally moved. Many people in the class have similar reactions to him, and I don't know what they are excited about. Gu Mengmeng turned around and glanced at everyone, thinking to herself that human emotions are really complex, and it's really hard for this phoenix cub to understand. The next second, Gu Mengmeng climbed onto the chair. Then, she climbed up the table again. Her short legs were pushing hard, and it was evident that she was already working hard. Zhou Yuan's eyes were full of doubt. Sun Chang, who had been waiting all along, looked equally puzzled by Gu Mengmeng's actions. Didn't she introduce herself, but what is this little girl doing now? Gu Mengmeng had no intention of explaining at all. Just as everyone was puzzled, she had already stood up from the table and was slowly crawling towards the right front podium. Her chubby little hands vigorously extended forward, trying to reach the edge of the podium. Everyone almost held their breath at the same time, and the hearts of the two brothers in the Gu family began to ache. Everyone was sweating in their hearts for Gu Mengmeng. After all, the desk is so high, if the dough falls, it will definitely hurt. Zhou Yuanguang imagined how Fan Tuanzi would fall and cry, feeling his heart sour and uncomfortable. With Gu Mengmeng's unremitting efforts, she finally succeeded in climbing onto the podium. Gu Qingsong. Success, success. Gu Qingfeng. It's truly my own little sister, she's just amazing. Zhou Yuan. Fanchuanzi Bang Bang. Classmates. Fortunately, she didn't fall, so she can breathe a sigh of relief. Sun Chang. My little ancestor, that's not what I meant. Help, you're just going to the podium, right? Gu Mengmeng's small face was full of excitement. She opened her watery eyes and looked at Sun Chang, with a hint of pride in her eyes. She stood firm on the podium and spoke crisply, "Teacher, I have successfully come to the podium. I need to prepare my self-introduction now." Sun Chang's mouth twitched and his mood became somewhat complicated. He didn't know how to respond to Gu Mengmeng for a moment. She probably didn't think she was deliberately making things difficult for her, did she? Heaven and earth can tell, I really don't mean that. As if verifying what Sun Chang was thinking, as soon as Gu Mengmeng's words fell, most of the class turned their attention to him, and many even had a hint of resentment in their eyes. For example, the two brothers of the Gu family, such as Zhou Yuan. Sun Chang. Unfair. Flying snow in July, he is even more unjust than Do-yi. On the podium, Gu Mengmeng cleared her throat and said, "Hello everyone, my name is Gu Mengmeng and I am the youngest cub in the Gu family." As soon as these words were spoken, many people's laughter echoed in the classroom. It's not the kind of laughter that was mocked, but the laughter that was introduced to Meng by Gu Mengmeng's self. The little girl is too cute, isn't she? No one would introduce herself as a cub. The smile on Zhou Yuan's face was the most obvious. When Fan Tuanzi spoke, her face was chubby, and she really wanted to pinch it. I have such a good relationship with the two brothers of the Gu family. It's not excessive to pinch their little sister's face, is it? Gu Qingfeng sneered. If you want to die, you can say it directly. Gu Qingsong. If you don't want your hands anymore, it is recommended to donate them to those who need them. Gu Mengmeng blinked and continued, "Don't think I'm easy to bully just because I'm young, I'm really amazing." Classmates, yes, cute is the most amazing. My father once said, I am the youngest and earliest cub in history to awaken my talent for animal defense. I can be said to be a genius. In order to leave a good impression on her classmates and prove that she is not a pure jerk, Gu Mengmeng emphasized again, I am a genius kid. Classmates. What? Mengmeng has actually awakened her talent for beast defense. My friends and I were all stunned. Shocked for a whole year. They thought Gu Mengmeng was here to make a living, but to their surprise, she really came to study. No wonder the little girl didn't go to the regular class, but came to the beast class. What is this called? Are the clowns themselves? Zhou Yuan, how can the gap between people be so big? Zhou Yuan. There's a fake thug in class. What should I do as a real thug? I'm waiting for a reply online, it's quite urgent. Gu Mengmeng noticed everyone's reactions and nodded in satisfaction, I'm glad to learn with everyone. Please take care of me in the future. After speaking, Gu Mengmeng squatted down and wanted to return the same way. There was an eerie silence in the classroom, and the silence was tonight's Cambridge. Everyone really didn't expect Gu Mengmeng to introduce herself like this. Cough, a very good self-introduction. Welcome cute classmates to join us. During Sun Chang's speech, his eyes never moved away from Gu Mengmeng. His words awakened the thinking of the classmates, and at this moment, warm applause finally rang out in the class. But Gu Mengmeng, on the other hand, didn't hear anything outside the window and was still trying hard to get off the podium. Her short legs kicked wildly in mid-air. Short legs wanted to reach the desk, but couldn't reach it. Gu Mengmeng pouted angrily, infuriating me to death. This is very embarrassing. Damn it, it was so easy when I just climbed up. How could there be things that are easy to get on the podium and difficult to get off the podium? It's so embarrassing to say. Sun Chang looked at Gu Mengmeng with complex eyes and said, Based on her current performance, I believe her future teaching days will be very exciting. After a few seconds, Sun Chang let out a long sigh. He took a few big steps forward, as if he couldn't bear to watch, and passed his hands through Gu Mengmeng's armpits, picking her up from the podium. Then, she was carefully placed back in her seat. All right, the welcome ceremony for the new students has come to an end, and we are now preparing to start the class. After confirming that Gu Mengmeng had already sat down, Sun Chang stood up straight and turned back to the podium to stand still. He tried to divert the attention of the students from Gu Mengmeng, but it was obvious that the effect was minimal. Sun Chang frowned and thought to himself, no, I have to come up with a solution. With a flash of inspiration in his mind, he spoke up, I almost forgot. Before class, there is one more thing that needs to be completed. Please submit your holiday homework. The students were first taken aback, and then the whole class heard a series of mournful cries. What's wrong with today's grandson? He has such a good memory. He usually only collects his homework at noon, doesn't he? They didn't have time to make up for their homework so early. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Fundamentals of Animal Control. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Fundamentals of Animal Control. A clear smile appeared on Sun Chang's face, indicating that everyone should be able to concentrate on listening to the class now. Hee, do these kids really think they don't know about their behavior of doing homework at school? I have been a teacher for so many years, can't I still handle you? It's just easy to handle, okay? Most students lower their heads in their backpacks, constantly searching for homework. Their movements are very stiff and slow. Looking at the small capacity backpack, they searched inside for several minutes without taking out any homework. It's like packing the whole world in a small backpack, making them lost and unable to find the trace of their homework. Gu Qingfeng found his homework and threw it onto Gu Qingsong's desk. By the way, please help me submit it. Gu Qingsong. Why don't you go? Gu Qingfeng lazily spoke, I don't want to move. Gu Qingsong was speechless. How could you speak so confidently? No help. Gu Qingsong refused very decisively. Gu Qingfeng glanced up at him and said, are you really not helping? Gu Qingsong put his hands on his hips and had an expression of, I won't go, what can you do to me? Really not helping. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng calmly took out his phone to unlock it. His demeanor was elegant and he looked very calm. Gu Qingsong frowned and realized that something seemed to be off. What do you want? Gu Qingsong questioned, and it was evident that his heart was filled with emptiness. Gu Qingfeng curled his lips and smiled, what are you doing? You just want to post a photo in the class group. Gu Qingsong hesitated for a moment, photo. What photo? Wait. He suddenly realized that this photo might not be, so you really saved it, I thought you were joking. Gu Qingsong's expression on his face was very unpleasant. He gritted his teeth and said, you're tough, can't I help you return it? Oh, you wicked man. Gu Qingfeng raised his eyebrows and said, it would have been better if this had happened earlier. Be good, go ahead quickly. Gu Qingsong. Please be a person. Gu Qingsong held their homework expressionlessly and walked towards the podium. His fingers pinched the notebook with great force, and it was evident that his inner emotions were surging, not as calm as he appeared on the surface. Sun Chang took the assignment submitted by Gu Qingsong, flipped through 2 pages casually, and then nodded in satisfaction. After Gu Qingsong finished submitting his homework, some people came forward one after another to submit it. But most people are still searching for their homework, as if it's playing hide and seek with them. No matter how they search, they can't find any trace of their homework. Sun Chang sorted out the homework he had already received and set it aside, then he spoke up, it seems that everyone else's homework has not been completed. Class time is limited, so don't waste time. Use your spare time to make up for any unfinished tasks and hand them over to me before noon. As soon as this statement was made, all the students below who had not submitted their homework breathed a sigh of relief. Sun Chang, alright, let's officially start today's class. Everyone, turn to page 198 of Fundamentals of Beast Control. Students are immersed in the ocean of knowledge, and a class quietly slips away. After class, Sun Chang called the two brothers of the Gu family and Gu Mengmeng into the office. As Gu Mengmeng joined midway, she needs to make up for the previous course. The mid-term exam is coming soon, and I hope that Gu Mengmeng can learn as much knowledge as possible before that. Do you two brothers have any thoughts on this? Gu Qingfeng, teacher son, rest assured that I will provide Mengmeng with as much basic knowledge as possible for tutoring. Gu Qingsong patted his chest and said, don't worry, Sunday. I am a genius in pharmacy, and I will definitely be able to make my cute pharmacy reach the average level before the exam. Sun Qianbai glanced at Gu Qingsong and said, call the teacher, what's your name Lao Sunday? No big or small. Gu Qingsong replied with a smile, good old grandson, no problem old grandson. Sun Chang, Forget it, my heart is so tired and I don't want to talk. Sun Chang took a deep breath before speaking, okay, with your help in tutoring Gu Mengmeng, I can rest assured. But time is tight, and you two may not be able to do it alone, so. Speaking of which, Sun Chang's gaze turned to Gu Mengmeng. Gu Mengmeng, during the period before the midterm exam, you may need to work hard. After each class, you come to the office to find me for extra classes. Gu Mengmeng blinked and said, teacher, just call me Mengmeng. Okay, I will come. Sun Chang was surprised that she would behave so obediently. R5. Old children so sensible now. Isn't it common for children at this age to dislike learning? Sun Chang's perception of Gu Mengmeng has undergone some significant changes. I thought it would be a troublesome existence, but now it seems that it's not what he thinks. A pleased smile appeared on Sun Chang's face, okay, that's all I have to say. You can go back to the classroom now. Fundamentals of Warcraft, in simple terms, collects all the foundations of Warcraft, including its history, classification of spirit beasts, distribution and weaknesses of Warcraft, and location distribution of alien space gates. Being a beast tamer is not just about having a contract with a spirit beast. To become a qualified beast tamer, one must first complete 9 years of compulsory education and complete the study of basic beast tamer. Not to mention being well versed, at least one needs to have a rough understanding. Gu Mengmeng has a lot to learn, and indeed, as Sun Chang said, time is very tight. But fortunately, her true body is a phoenix cub, naturally very intelligent. After being explained by Gu Qingfeng, she almost understood the principles behind many questions at a glance. And she herself is a divine beast, so she naturally has a good understanding of the classification of spirit beasts, especially the classification of birds and spirit beasts. After all, the phoenix is the king of all birds. The most important thing is that Gu Mengmeng has a very good memory, almost reaching a level that is unforgettable. So, she can quickly remember things like the history of beasts, which greatly saves her a lot of time. Gu Mengmeng's learning ability has left the two brothers of the Gu family, who were originally planning to do a big job, confused. Good guy, I know my little sister is a genius, but I didn't expect her to be such a genius. It's not an exaggeration to call her a top genius. After a brief shock, both brothers of the Gu family began to take pride in their little sister, their hearts filled with pride. They wished to install several speakers on their bodies and announce to the world that Gu Mengmeng was their sister. See, our little sister is just so amazing. End of this chapter.